Explosive news. I've wanted to do this all day. I've even had a lot of friends and followers reach out. But we're going to have a good talk today, and then I'm going to open it up to Q&A for questions and answers as to where we're going. What's happened today that is tremendously explosive. So, folks, if you've missed it, Stephen Harper, Jean Chrétien got on stage last night, all published for everybody to see. If you've missed CBC, Global, and CTV News, those two condemned Alberta. Jean Chrétien laughed at Quebec. Last-ditch efforts as former prime ministers to get Canadians to condemn the USA as they tell all of you that this is the end of the American empire and the rise of China. They say that's where Canada needs to go. And Stephen Harper goes on to tell you how he told Mark Carney, yeah, you got to move away from the United States. He recants everything about the firewall letter and all the money the Tory Conservatives stole from so many Albertans all through 2001 onwards as he pinned the firewall letter. But, of course, after all of those so many millions of dollars that he received, he not only convinced Albertans to throw Ralph Klein, Premier of Alberta, out of office, he convinced them that he had a better solution and that he had this firewall letter and it was all going to work out. And of course, once he got to Prime Minister, he did the opposite. He signed Alberta onto a massive, massive equalization formula where provincial and federal governments got rich while all the Alberta people got broke, largely conservatives. You see them today, Jean Chrétien, Stephen Harper, holding hands, saying, I don't know what working people's problems are. You got to face it, Canadians. This is national unity. We need to destroy America and move on with China, because that's the best outcome. More than this. Ralph Goodale. Now, Albertans who follow me already know all about Ralph Goodale. I published him, Jason Kenney, Tory, Whig. Ralph Goodale, a long-time Liberal insider. He's about as close to the left to center as you can get as a Liberal. He was definitely no friend of China. Ralph Goodale's got a lot of problems. He's a socialist. But when it came down to making the communist transition, UK High Commissioner Ralph Goodale rejected China. In fact, he purported on everything China was doing. He was the High Commissioner who dealt with Huawei, dealt with sanctions and trade embargoes with China. He dealt with a lot. And he had the Huawei executive detained. He did all that and said, we can't capitulate to China. It's destructive to Canada. Well, he resigned last month. And who does Mark Carney announce today? And why did Ralph Goodale resign? Well, we know why. You're now a friend of China. You held China to account. He is the person who's responsible for all of Canada-China bad relations publications and public-made awareness of all of the Chinese interference, all of China's actions in Canada. And apparently UK was all on board with this in the Crown until, of course, the Labour Party Starmer and King Charles III being ascended made a change. Now there's a Super China embassy in UK. In fact, there's Super China embassies and personnel going out throughout the Commonwealth. You're seeing all kinds of Commonwealth countries pay the price for that. Australia's got it about the worst, besides Canada right now today. As we flatline on our economy, we've never had such a large trade deficit ever in Canadian history. Our economy's flat, zero growth, with a massive trade deficit. And Mark Carney says the best person to appoint to UK High Commissioner that's going to direct us in the new China-UK Super Embassy is Bill Blair, who has all kinds of criminal activity purported by former High Commissioner Ralph Goodale, Liberal. Oh yeah, he was true to his word, effectual with Canada's CSIS. For those who don't know, this is Canada's version of CIA, who report on all the crimes of all your politicians, including, at least up to a month ago, Bill Blair, who knew about Chinese election interference in Canada, knew for over 54 days, as that CSIS report sat on his desk, and he did nothing about it. Ralph Goodale said, hey, we got to move forward with this. We got to... Prime Minister Mark Carney orders Ralph Goodale to resign. And he does. Prime Ministers can ask any Crown appointment to resign, and they have to. That's Crown customary law in Canada. Executive Prime Minister is all powerful. The police and military will respond. So Ralph Goodale resigned. Bill Blair, who's got all kinds of Chinese corruption and was being investigated for such, is now the UK High Commissioner. Everything's good with China. Everything's great. Nothing to see here, Canadians. Stephen Harper and Jean Chrétien come forward and say, yeah, in the name of national security, it's okay. China's good now. All's forgiven. Don't worry about the pesky CSIS. And former Ralph Goodale High Commissioner, don't worry about all his investigations and truth from MI5 UK. Don't worry, that's all changed overnight. Because the Crown, right? That's all in the garbage can now. Don't worry about it. Hey, you know what's really cool? There's no death penalty in Canada or the UK. But China sure's got it, right? Everybody loves to go after the USA. Well, now BBC News, since they've got rid of Ralph Goodale and a pile of senior officials all the way up to MI5 out of UK to make way for the new China Super Embassy in the UK Tower, London. You know, where Canada One, Canary Wharf is, right? Was the largest tower in London, how they celebrate the colonial jewel Canada. Their rape, pillage, and plunder over all of us. But Canadians don't care. Come on, Crown, it rocks, right? USA bad, UK so good, China is so great. That's the kind of empire I know I want to be in. What about all of you? So I have it on pretty good authority, everybody. All that happening. I have some pretty high connections in the United States. In fact, one very, very, very senior high one from the first Trump administration. We're friends. We're friends. Pretty good for a little Canadian. And people who know I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to make any more statements about it. So we finished our petition. I've told you I've sent some of these things to the UNSC before. Well, I got it on good authority. I have to wait 1 month's time. 1 month's time, and our petition's going to go, and I'm going to tell you why. Currently, the president, which rotates every month, and I already knew this, but I thought with that email I wouldn't have an issue. But I have it on pretty good authority from someone who sat in that room, that's all I'm going to say, who sat in that room for years, that with that presidency being UK and the transition UK is going through right now, we can be rest assured our petition and letter to Ambassador Mike Waltz will never see the light of day. And if I wait, everybody, if I hold our petition off, which I don't want to do this, there's a beautiful day coming in 3 days' time that I want to present this. You don't get to know the program for the United Nations Security Council in advance. It only comes out in half-month progress with the every month changing of presidency. So hang on to your seats, because next month, March, I'm told, that is USA's presidency turn. And that if I try to submit it now, there's absolutely no guarantee, as UK holds presidency and is a veto country, they don't have to turn over any documents, because their presidency right now, through that email to Mike Waltz or the rest of the UNSC, even rotating members. They don't have to. They can go, you know what? This isn't important. Just like I just told you, those reports by Ralph Goodale, UK High Commissioner, right, sat on Bill Blair's desk, Minister of Defense, for 54 days, right? Mine can end up on somebody's desk for 54 days and we lose out on the special session day. I hope that makes sense. And this person of very, very absolute highest authority in a time period told me that's what I have to worry about here. And then if I wait 1 month, the month of March, USA will be transferred that power, as we're writing the letter that, yes, is to the USA, but it also gives them time to make a program suitable for our petition and our letter, especially with the fact of how Mike Waltz feels about China and the Chinese threat, and what USA is going through with UK and even the Commonwealth, our country, Canada. So, folks, that's the truth. That's where I'm at. I don't like it. I don't like to sit on things because public sentiment goes down. But at the same time, do I want to end up like all the other Canadian corruption when I know that to be effectually true? And I have to trust this person from the first Trump administration because they were involved in that exact level of government we're talking about for years. So I have to decide, and that's pretty much, I think, you know what? They're right. Chances are, even though it's addressed the entirety, they're the ones who are handling it. They're the ones who are in charge all of this month. Do I really want to risk us and that? And then, in their minds, think about it. If it's UK over their colonial jewel Canada, that they rape, pillage, and plunder at will, with full support of both Tories and Whigs, Liberals, Conservatives, right? Mark Carney, absolutely. And it's so damaging to them, and it is damaging to the crown of the UK. Do I really want to risk making an addressment, even though it's going into New York, that they control all that they've got in their hands? Would I really get there, or would they just throw it in the garbage? And then it looks like Mike Waltz didn't care, or America didn't care, or the Trump administration. See, they don't care. It's all a game, right? It's better to wait the month. That's what I believe, even though I know it's damaging, as the heat level with BC and David Eby's fresh statements will be dramatically lower. But I think I'm going to wait the month because it's better than the garbage can or some kind of 54-day thing on a different rotating presidency in an unrelated topic that doesn't suit the letter and the value of it on specific days, always during the month. You always have to pre-plan and pick your days. And I'm good at doing that. And I've been very successful on a number of issues and areas related to the United Nations Security Council and even ECOSOC, second highest tier. So, yeah, I think do what's best, Dave. Thanks, Foster. So, folks, I'm opening up the floor now to any and all questions that I can't answer. Understand, on the petition letter, certain things I will, certain things I won't. I'll have to weigh that because now we're waiting for the month of March. And that it won't be long into March. It's just the problem is they'll run a program for half the month. And then it's like, if those days don't match me, it could be as high as near the end of March or middle of March. I won't know until March 1st. I don't have the program that I have now that I can go, yeah, like even when I rolled out the petition, right? It's hard to explain, but people who've been with me on this know I plan ahead for as far as I can. And certain events are scheduled, and this is a scheduled event that I know happens annually, and that's why this one was huge for me. It's just, yeah, I could see UK throwing us in the garbage or slid it under the desk for the month. We miss the day, we miss that, and then all of a sudden we turn up on the wrong day, and it's discarded because of that. And no fault of USA, right? You have to enter your documents on document-related days where it's open to all nations, right? So that's, and it has to be the topic at hand. So I am going blind now, waiting to March. I'm going blind, but I have to have faith, like faith in Christianity and God, that, you know what, USA is going to make that kind of day available, even though I knew this scheduled day. And I don't know in similar contexts when that will come, except for this time again next year, which would really suck. So I have to hope that something special will be available by the United States in faith. And again, I won't know till pretty much the first few days of March, and then I got to kind of plan for that. And then if not, it's not there, I got to look towards the end of March, meaning post March 15th. So it's faith and faith in it, and I trust that faith. I think it will work out, and I think that's best. But the propaganda online is giant show, full of total bullshit and lies. What the fuck is going on? We're transitioning, Clinton. Everybody. If you haven't been watching BBC, China's great. They got the death penalty, putting all these people and organizations to death all over Myanmar, the world, and they're really smashing to them. God bless China, kind of thing, right out of BBC News. Never, ever a narrative by BBC News. It's plastered all over now. Welcome to the Commonwealth. Welcome to the new Labour Party UK crown, where apparently these things are all great and wonderful. China's going to be the new empire. They're good. USA bad. We have to transition. And what scares me is how many Canadians, I'm watching conservatives I've known for years smashing on me. I released the pedophile Bill Gates. Folks, if you haven't seen Bill Gates' latest with his ex-wife, Melinda French Gates, they were divorced, all kept suppressed. She took a huge payout not to talk. But in USA law, when it comes to the oversight committee, none of those apply. So she gets her money from Gates. What does she do today? Doesn't rat on him, but pretty much does. Doesn't breach her agreement, but it's because new evidence. You basically know she got the STDs at that time. It says it all over her face. I went through a painful time of marriage at that time. And I have girls that age. And I think about the girls that were abused in that situation. Right? And there's going to be a reckoning. Bill Gates is done, everybody. He's going to be on that oversight committee. So is Melinda French Gate. Now, anyone who doesn't see that and see that for what it is, you look at that woman's face, and then your first thing is that USA bad, Canada good. Peter Nygaard ran long before Jeffrey Epstein, and long after him too. Jeffrey Epstein ran long after Epstein in Canada and all over the Commonwealth and the European world. Oh yeah. Convicted of child sex abuse, and absolute child prostitution. Think about that. Pedophile. But yet, no problem in Canada. TED conferences, Peter Nygaard, Bill Gates, all the people that are fully listed there, all participating in all those meetings 5 years after he was convicted, at least shut down in the States. But he continued on in Canada for another 5 years, British Columbia, year after year, till finally public outcry had him thrown out. Bill Gates was at all those too. Just raping kids steady. And here's the thing about the Russian girls. Everybody understand what's happening in the USA. Redacted. That this is the problem with so many globally who look into America. American citizens are all equal. Presidents no better than any bum on the street. Any drug addict on the street. Don't matter. Or high criminal or high wealth. Doesn't matter. In America, they're all equal. Equally punishable by the law. And can be. And citizens can do that. Any two Americans. There's a we the people system there. There's a we the people judicial system that puts the federal authorities to work for those people against those politicians, no matter how high. You watched it happen to Trump. Whether it goes through or not, there's credible evidence they go through. But anybody in the States can go down. President doesn't have authority to go after Americans individually. And people don't know this, and then they go off on tangents that the only reason why Peter Nygaard stuff was even stopped is because they got involved with American children, equal to every other citizen. Don't F around with American kids. Oh, you can mess around with the subject kids. Here's the thing with Bill Gates. Those Russian girls, they're not part of the 100 victims. No one knows what happened to the Russian girls. Oh, they're probably 6 feet under. What happened to all the Japanese, Chinese, all these other little girls? Tens of thousands, probably, between the two. Shrug shoulders. No one talks about them because there's no commission assembled, oversight committee for any of those victims. No one knows who or where they are. The only oversight committee is for those 100 American girl victims. Do you people get it now? So when I get crazy Canadians, conservative, running the USA down, you think the whole system's perfect there? Never said it was. But it's an accountable system. If you pursue as an American, you can find accountability and justice. Never said it was easy, but at least it's possible. Let's get something straight. It's not possible in Canada against our elite crown. So any lunatic talking about how there's accountability, wow, you're mentally ill. You're programmed into a tremendous lie. Oh, sure, some good politicians on their merit if they're good, but like Ralph Goodale, for the good things he did in relation to China, a liberal. I know all about Ralph Goodale. A lot of old-time Albertans who've been following me since independence, I have no love for him. I've published lots about him. Him and Jason Kenney, the whole works of it all, the evil of Ralph Goodale. But let's be clear, he was no commie. And he definitely published all the truth about China and stood up to it. At least he wasn't ready to go that far. He's done now. Now you got Bill Blair. lover of communism, criminal, absolute, barrier of Chinese corruption, spying, election interference, and much, much more in Canada. He buried, hid, and now he's the UK High Commissioner. The criminal's been ascended. There is no accountability in Canada. We're done. We're done, everybody. We're done. Tory Whig, we're done. MK Ultra type stuff going on, the bombers. Oh yeah, they drug the girls, needle them up, heroin. There's all kinds of child sex trafficking all over the world. That's a go-to for them. Get the girls addicted to drugs, right? Well, one, especially stuff like heroin. There's so many new synthetic opiates, way worse than heroin. Like, it goes on and on. Sure, I will definitely agree with that. That is a staple in child sex trafficking and child prostitution rings, right? Absolutely. Right into the bloodstream for these girls until they die. As many uses you get out of them. It's sad. It's terrible. It's terrible, folks. Liberals fund media, so they only tell the liberal good news. Well, Grandma D, last time I checked, Stephen Harper is a prime minister for the Conservatives. Mark Carney was an 18-year Conservative. We got major floor crossings. Pierre Poilievre did all of the China-Canada FIPA deal. He was the head of that commission. He took 2 payments recorded by CSIS, Canada's CIA version. And he won't go for his security clearance because he doesn't want to have to publicly answer to his CSIS reports. That's why. So, again, I don't know. We can keep playing the game in Canada. Oh, it's all the Liberals. If we just elect Pierre Poilievre or Stephen Harper or on a... What is Stephen Harper saying today? What has he told you over the last 6 months about where Mark Carney should go? Oh, no, I don't hear that. No, I won't look at the news on that. That's AI. It's not Stephen Harper. It's an alien or he's been replaced. He's wearing a rubber mask. Come on, people. Come on, wake up. Read your Constitution. Read the history of Conservative and Liberal parties. Your 2 oldest parties in this country. Look at your 3rd oldest party, Communism. Why is that still a registered party? How come there's always an accountant to re-register the party and keep it legal year after year? How many elections have they been running in? How much money are they generating? Oh yeah. No one ever thought of that. How come we can't get the 51st state? How come every accountant, no matter what, turns me down flat? Soon as 51st state comes up, how come people who want to register Communist Republic or Imperial Republic, they can get it, but We the People Republic, there's a quick and epic no. Oh no! Like, or, yeah, oh no, it sounds great, yeah, let me just go talk to my peers. They go, oh, nope. Over and over again, guys. And even people who are on board or, yeah, and then boom. I'm going through a very small list of changes from last time. Yes, there is French on that list. Yes, I'll be contacting Party 51 members who've joined us to try that, but we have to be open and honest about what we are with them, and we're going to try. What do we got to lose, right? Yeah, I got one more French accountant to try after I try this last accountant in Canada. And by the way, Albertans, one of these accountants was from Alberta, supposed separatist, all that. Absolute no on Canada, the 51st state, or a We the People Republic. Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Costa Rica, those. I don't know if that means you're in Costa Rica, but... This makes 100% sense. Oh yeah, absolutely. China sucks. Carney involved, of course. Oh, here's some stuff. I think you're totally right, the Bill Blair and all that. I think we are done as a country. Please be lucky if we survive the next 4 years, 3 years, who knows what the next election will bring. Okay, Darlene, I'm just opening up your election will bring. Hopefully we'll be the 51st state by then. Hard to say, though. It looks like Trump doesn't seem to want us now. Well, there's the cherished 51st state way, Darlene. That's the way he wanted. Trump is always true to his word. Hey, we can do it that way, or we can do it the Greenland hard way. And for Canadians, that means you losing all of your crown land, tremendous amount of your resources, so much land, and likely 132,000 people in all of those areas, right up to the 3 territories, actually being the 51st state on the Greenland way. And the rest of us, over 41 million people, stuck in this 9% bunched up against the American border. And all of these resources you hear premiers and territorial premiers brag about, go bye-bye. They're not yours. They're only yours via UK-USA treaties. How's things going with UK and USA right now? UK-China super embassy. What happens when USA says, fuck you? And like Canada, remember everybody, I've told you, there were 14 treaties. Still 14 US-UK treaties, according to the United States of America. But one of those UK-USA treaties, Canada, who assumed control over, there were 14 treaties on Canada's side, US-UK historical treaties. One of the very oldest, not the oldest, but one of them, I think it's either 2 or 3 on the list, was the Jay Treaty. And I have to go back and look at that. I'm leaning on 3, but I have to actually look at that again. But it's a 1700s treaty. And Canada in 1952, years after Westminster and after the New Atlantic Charter, 1941, and the conclusion of World War II, King George VI completed his promise. Got to Canada, did India first, got to Canada, and started. One of those things was, here you go, Canada, there will be no more UK Crown appointments in Canada. From now on, Governor General of Canada will be appointed by the Prime Minister from Canadians. It's not going to be a UK Crown appointment. Same with all Lieutenant Governors and Territorial Commissioners. Sadly, he died, but that was one thing he completed. And as soon as he died, having completed that, didn't finish Canada, not by a large margin, but that's one of the things he completed. But Canada remained infused with the Crown anyway, but now it can appoint its own people, and now became in charge of UK-USA treaties. In fact, all UK treaties over this area of Canada for all kinds of people and places in the world. And this is what Alberta separatists and Quebec separatists don't understand. Not all of Canada is arranged in the same treaty system, like poor old Quebec and Quebecois. Albertans don't know anything about this. Ontarians are not the same either. They don't know about the others or their own. And there's a pile of things about Ontario and Quebec specifically. While people think they get more powers, they get less rights to waters, resources, and much, much more. In fact, foreign treaties with other countries, not US-UK treaties, very old treaties, UK said company, UK said trading partner, UK said country, there's a lot others, especially over what's now Ontario and Quebec. And these others actually own entire lakes, entire ranges, entire properties where poor old Quebecois, and including Ontario, reside on. Old treaties that aren't right. And Ontarians and Quebecois get no royalties for any of that. These people get to pillage and plunder at will. We should change that. But the Crown doesn't want to. They're corrupt. They make deals with Alberta politicians, Saskatchewan politicians. Oh, you figured that out, eh? Okay, well, we'll cut you in. But now you're going to make those who get the royalties out of your regions pay us too. So they do. Daniel Smith just sold out every Albertan. What do you think the carbon tax deal with Carney was for? More equalization to pay for the 12 million starving Canadians who need a GST break. That's part of the money that's going to be going into your new carbon price taxing that's put on Albertans, is to pay for the 12 million people who can't eat in Canada, including Alberta too, but all of Canada. That's just one of them. That's a Daniel Smith deal. She did that, just like Stephen Harper and all Conservatives. She'll tell you what you want to hear, like Pierre Poilievre, and then they'll turn around, rip your pants down, and rape you over and over again. Except they don't slap you in the back of the head. They rub your hair as they tear into your anus. That's a better rapist, right? It's the lesser of two rapists. Because Mark Carney punches you while he does it. So, Darlene, I hope that answers you. It's not that USA doesn't want us. It's that they're prepared to go the hard way because they don't want to waste their time trying to convince 41 million people. They're going to make you suffer and let you figure out that left over 9% without any real natural resources. And then they'll start bartering deals with all the First Nations because they can dissolve US-UK treaties. They can do that. Again, why? Because Canada did it with the Jay Treaty. Once they gained power of the Crown in Canada, first thing they did, dissolve the Jay Treaty. And all these other treaties, they say, you won't dare, Donald Trump. But the Canadian government did in the 50s. It was done by 56. Who did it? Oh, yeah, it was Conservatives. Fuck. Forgot to tell you that part. No. Yeah, it was Conservatives. Gates is not the only one. I think we're going to finally go and get justice after waiting so long, which will undoubtedly affect some of the demons here in Canada. Yeah, no, all shit rolls downhill. That's the saying as it goes. And, yeah, a lot of people, like what happened to Peter Nygard, that was directly out of Epstein, only because of American children victims. But again, how many Canadian children will never come home? Look at the pig farm in BC, in Metropolitan BC, East Vancouver. He did that for 5 years. Record amount missing. Police are like, who gives a crap? They're just loser subjects. Loser third class, border on savage class subjects. Who cares? I don't know. I don't have... As long as we remain crown with these entitled upper echelon first class crown that are unaccountable, I wouldn't hold your breath for Canada or the rest of the world. Again, what we're learning is only because of the grace of the USA and that there are over 100 American victims from Epstein. That's the only reason why. The tens of thousands of others, who knows who those victims are? They're probably not even alive. Bill Gates might have had those Russian girls killed. They're not going to be missed. They're subjects, right? They're on the UN rights to the child. Bill Gates loves all that international law, especially the green socialism stuff, and absolutely the fascism. And they always parade themselves as human rights champions, and they're billionaires who got their money from ripping people off, cheating people, despicable acts. You don't make that kind of money from being a good guy, right? But then they, look at me, I'm a humanitarian, I go around the world raping kids. That's the kind of humanitarian you always were. Entitled, privileged, met all these royal families as a billionaire. Oh. I'll have to wrap this up very soon. I have things to work on. A schedule. What else do we got now? Foster says, I think Trump's going to cancel U.S. treaties. UK's closing up to communist China like Mark Carney did with Canada. No, absolutely. Foster, that's the painful way. I knew about the U.S.-UK treaties. I thought it was for populous Canada. It's reverse. It's for the unpopulated Canada, the Greenland way. Even worse is that we're going to be left tied into this space. It's a painful, worse way than what Texas went through. It won't be selling off your territories. America's got a smarter way. A much, much smarter way. Like I said, to be honest, I'm going to be doing a presentation for First Nations across Canada. It's to their benefit to get negotiating with the United States now. That's the way to do it, really. Really. They can be a part of that and get land back now while they're breaking Canada. Canadians. Jerry Frenchman says, I look at Britain, UK, and this is the direction we are going. So yeah, 51st state to 63 states. If you think that they're going to make 10 provinces and 3 territories, I'm being honest here, states of the Union, and hand over 2 senators, right, to every Canadian province and 3 territories, you don't know anything about statehood. I'm sorry, but it's going to, Canada will be all of it or a big chunk of that 132,000 I just said. They will never hand over that kind of Senate power to a bunch of socialists and fascists. You got to go through pain. You got to be Americanized, and you do that through suffrage. And statehood is a very patient thing. They will apply economic pressure to you for upwards of 75, 85 years. Doesn't matter what language you speak. If you don't know about British Quebec and how at one time it was larger than the 13 colonies, and then they broke that into the Louisiana Purchase and others, there's more. And all those French states are now states of the Union, and they capitulated. Some of them took 75 years. But they're there. They're there today, and actually a long, long time ago. So, hate to tell you, they won't be handing out free Senate seats to Canadian provinces. They won't. Population of America versus us. They wouldn't do it. That's tremendous. Think about how many Senate seats that is and the power you give 41 million people. Way above Americans. Texas already has their statehood with clauses against that stuff. That if you make another state of the union and you try something like that, we get as much as 6 times the senators. Did you know that? No. Nobody likes to read or do the work required to really get at something. You can't just say, hey, I know how it's going to be without absolutely reading the entire history of statehood of the USA for the last 250 years. Then you'd know why these things would never happen. And there's no sitting American presidency, Democrat or Republican, that would ever be able to see that through. One, they can't. Again, USA's most beautiful design is the checks and balances. Texas is actually a check and balance against a multi-provincial state system. If you think America's going to say, to hell with Texas, screw them, yeah, right. Think how angry Americans would get. A presidency or a Congress would be overrun, especially with the way Americans are at their level. They'd never tolerate that, Not for Canada. Canadians, if you look at statistics, and it's not a power of the American people, 95% of Americans don't wish to have Canadians in a statehood at all. But they've done that for every state of the union. Every poll, anytime America was expanding up to its 50 states, all the current states of the union facing this new state, it's always like that. The American people, hell no. And it's a good thing it's not a power of the people, because they don't like change. They don't like to expand America. Americans don't. Like some do, but not in a major, especially when they're looking at a different kind of people who aren't American like them or don't necessarily like America. Like think of Louisiana Purchase and all those French-speaking, right? Americans at the time wanted nothing to do with that. And it goes on through a lot of states. Oh, there's too many Spanish. Didn't want any of that either. Oh, we don't want any of this. Too many Indians, right? It was just the way it is. Starmer's an idiot, I agree. Oh yeah, Jeff, I already actually addressed that. What do you think about Jean Chrétien's comment that he thinks this is the end of the American empire? One, America's not an empire. America's a country, a union of 50 states. End of the empire. They don't colonize, stupid. Not you, I mean Jean Chrétien. Everything out of every Canadian politician's mouth is everything true about them and their mentality as divine human beings. Legally written in. What they talk about and see the rest of the world, that's how they are. You know the guy, maybe you've worked a guy like that, she's cheating the wife, and he's always, you hear him on breaks, and he's ranting and raving at the wife. He's always, who are you talking to? Why didn't you answer the phone? Excuse me. Why didn't you answer the phone? Where are you? And you look at the guy like, wow, that guy's got a problem. And then you go out for beers with him, you see him picking up some dirty hooker, right, after work, and you're like, wow, that's why he's like that. Because that's how he is. So because he lives his life that way, well, everybody lives their life that way. Well, no. America isn't an empire. They're a country of 50 states, a union. That's who they are. And they go out on the world stage and they dominate militarily and they seek trade to better their 50 states. Now, sure, they're ready to expand. End of the empire or beginning of the next phase of expansion. The military shows you clearly in technology, size, scale, and scope. This is what America does every time it's about to, it takes a breath in, absorbs a lot of debt, and now look how big it is. It's been doing this for the whole 250 years, folks. This isn't new. It's just the breath is deeper. They're taking more. They go out that much bigger. Took a little more time to go that much bigger. They're ready. Hope that makes sense. Hello, 51st Staters. Yeah, Barry Allen. Trump's not going to allow China's control next door to USA. Shit's going to hit the fan soon. Oh yeah, no, for sure. I just don't want the shit to hit the fan of us being in a 6-year, 13-year situation. I don't think we would get, I pray they wouldn't do that to us, put us in a 6-year truth of Texas, because our Arctic climate, we won't make it. And I'm with all of you, like the average Canadians, the 90% that we don't have that way out to America. Not yet. I hope work explodes in the U.S. I hope green cards go, and when they do, I'll tell you all. But that's not effectual right now, not even remotely in the realm of truth. People are grifting for money for that, but it's scary. It's scary. And shit hit the fan. They take our Arctic. They take all the crown land that we're not currently on. Nobody is, not even First Nations. We're going to be in a lot of trouble because that's where we get most of our jobs, and the only reason why we have a first world economy, largely robbed by a first class, but that will be devastatingly destructive to all the Canadian people. That's a fact. Clinton build the gallows. Oh, I went to the Metallica Ride Lightning concert way back in Saskatoon at the old Blades Arena. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Build the gallows, yeah. I hate when it scrolls. If I touch it and I don't continue, it just scrolls me right back on lives, eh? The scientific fact is that you need 3.5% of a given population to shift that population into the change you are looking for. Yeah, there's a lot to be said about that, Kevin. And now I just dropped your comment. Oh, Dave, Aaron McIntosh. Dave has done more for Indigenous than anyone else in Canada. The only purple do more for them is the USA. Go look at what he's done in the last 10 years. I've been following him. Thanks, Aaron. That's really nice. I know. And Jaworski, if allowed into the next election and the one after, I don't trust the vote will be counted. I think all electors have been rigged, or elections have been rigged, just as I believe it happened in the 2020 presidential election. I know it feels like that. Now, I'm not saying they're not, but I know the propaganda. I know my statistical analysis, and I do. I was tested. He came out and said I'm a visual mathematician. I'll go walk streets, communities. I'll do door knocking. I learned the truth that way. In 2019 election in Alberta, that was accurate. I saw the truth that way. Visually, it counts to me. It's just the way my brain works. And it's troubling, right? I know when you're getting out of 100 doors, one open to talk to you about it and may see it your way. I know those numbers. I live them. So all I'm saying is I see the reality of institutionalization of Canadians and First Peoples, and it scares the shit out of me. Could you suggest some reading material for an idiot like myself, a starting point maybe? The Constitutional Acts of Canada, Consolidated, Lewis and Holes, 1867 to 1982, multi-textual, multiple downloads, because the government doesn't want you to read it all and know the beginning, middle, and end. There's more after that. Then go read the U.S. Constitution, and then pick any state you want of the Union. Pick your favorite state of America and download that Constitution. Compare all three of those constitutions. And the Canadian Constitutional Acts of Canada, multi-textual, is the only constitution in Canada. The only one we have. There's no provincial, even though we're in a federalism. I could go into so much right here, right now, that is killing me right now. Especially, actually, you know what I am, if you don't mind, Samantha, I'm going to give some hearts and likes, guys. This helps reach more people. That's true. I want to say something here. Guns, firearms, it's property. If you ever want to see me give the greatest presentation, it's on video. You can upload it from the government of Alberta. A lot of my stuff gets erased because a lot of Crown don't like it, but still alive today. I know it was saved by people, but you can go on the Alberta Legislature website. You can look it up, Dave Bjorkman, Alberta Legislature, and you'll see me really presenting property rights and provincial constitutions. Any premier, any prime minister, which it's the power of a premier, that's talking about firearms as anything other than property is bullshitting you. It's in the Constitution. It's promised to the provinces to constitute. They never have. They traded away your rights, allowed it to be criminalized because they've never codified provincial constitutions restricting the rights to property, listing those explicitly like firearms. No premier wants to do that. If you ever want to learn about all that, very quick, not long, two interactions requested by MLAs in Alberta. 2 requested I did a follow-up to it, and the other half wanted me gone. And lo and behold, banned from Jason Kenney Premier, who called an election. Daniel Smith won an in-party election, then had me banned too. So there are no friends. If you don't have a We the People constitution, you're not a real republic, no matter what anyone says. If you're not part of a constitutional convention formed by the people, you're not in anything real. You're just going back into what you're trying to get out of. Luke says, I don't see any difference between Liberal and Carney didn't meet the residential rule, yet he is PM. The other parties let it happen rather than fight in court. It's all Crown rigged, though. It's King's Court, King's Council. We don't have executive, legislative, judicial branch independent of each other. There's Crown appointments that override and overrule all of that. Even when your legislatures or parliament makes bills, Privy Cabinet or Privy Council, federal, provincial, or territorial, can go in and amend all the laws right after they're signed anyway. So it's just a show for all of you. We just watched that happen in Alberta. We're changing it. Well, don't you need the legislature? Oh, you're the Crown Cabinet. You don't need a legislature to amend or change the laws at will. So the executive and legislative, that's all theater. It's not independent, because the president can't grab a bill and change it at will. He can't. That's Congress and Senate, legislative branch. And judicial's independent. They can say, hey, we overrule that law is unconstitutional. In Canada, it's only unconstitutional if the chief executive prime minister says it is. They can override all courts. Highest superior courts of the province, highest Supreme Court of Canada. You don't win, provincial, territorial, or federal, unless they want you to. They don't give remedy, even if you do win, unless they want you to. They only let wins happen in certain narratives, certain ways, to boost them politically. That's it. Oh, somebody said, yeah, not getting provincial constitutions is my disappointment for my children. My immediate family all has status besides me, so we'll be getting to move to the U.S. Yeah, if you're on J Treaty, do it now before that ends, right? I would be doing that. If I was a First Nation, I would do that. Shit, I hate it when it does that. Oh, people are saying without Indigenous voices at your table, this will always be an uphill battle. This is not the same possible, but your energy needs to be redirected now because it's going to Indigenous nations too late. We'll label you accordingly. I don't know. Well, I know in Alberta in 2019, when I'm active politically, meaning in a registered party, I have no problem reaching First Nations. But I'm not political yet, not with a registered legal federal party here. Then no problem. I had no problem in 2019 with the legally registered party participating in all the number of treaties in Alberta. All the bands, they all met me. I spent 3 days with them. That's when it's time. And that was no problem for me. So anybody right now who says you can't do that or you should be doing it, I get what you're saying, but we're not a registered party yet. We're not at that point. Just like we're not at the point that I can release a full platform of the many thousands of people I'm going to need. But I don't worry about it because I've seen it and I've actually built it and I brought it together in less than a year. Once you're legal and Canadians see that, when they see the org in front of them and it's real and they get the permission from the government, meaning they go on the government website, oh, it's real, it's legal, the government says it's okay. Whoa, we're going to get it all. And we'll get the First Peoples too. I'm not worried about that. But right now, to put my energy into that without the party just isn't the right time, honestly. The party is critical. And dealing with changing events and keeping up with the USA absolutely is critical. Foss says military. Oh, Ian said too. Ian posted the Alberta property rights video. Go watch that, folks. I delivered that live. Pretty good. And you can see half the MLAs wanted it. And then, of course, it's all corrupt. Military intervention isn't going to be nice. Unfortunately, Dave, I just got back from America. I didn't want to leave the USA. Yeah, me either. And military intervention can happen too when Canada's crown goes too far, like Mark Carney and not Mark Carney, Jean Chrétien and Stephen Harper today. Then of course the High Commissioner change out. These things are running red line in America. I guarantee you all, and it pushes towards military intervention. It certainly does. Hi, Dave. Have you submitted the petition, and how do you think it will help our cause? Well, I stated, Claudia, you must have came in late. UK is the president of the UNSC this month, and I've been advised at a high level of USA from the first Trump administration, who knows that stage, not to submit this month, submit next month, because next month USA is president of the council. I run the risk of getting my document put in the hands of the UK, who's right now really buddying up with China and suppressing a lot. It's really scary. That's the advice I got, to wait 30 days, reassess then when USA is president of the council. That likely we will do this and not get an answer. Nothing. Mike Waltz won't even get it. And then everyone will blame America and say, see, Dave, USA doesn't care. USA's against us. They don't care. It's all bullshit. So I've been told to wait 30 days. Wait till the UK presidency's gone and wait for the USA. Even though there is a day this month I want to do that this document fits in. It's done every year. And I was so excited about it. But with that intel that it will be UK handling my documents, probably not a good idea. Yeah, well, why? Because I stand up and I won't swear an oath to the crown. I've never swore an oath to the crown, everybody. Never. The only one I currently am on is Bruce Power Oath of Secrecy on nuclear secrets. That's the only one I've sworn. And I can't talk about things that happen at the plant, certain levels. I can talk about nuclear. I know lots about nuclear. Whatever's published by the Nuclear Commission or the Government of Canada, that's free range. I can talk about it all day long and have an opinion. But what happens in that plant, or things I see, things I may not like, or something, or I like, or that's secret to the world, I can't share. That's it. But you see me, I slam all government. I don't care. It's got nothing to do with my job. Let's see here. Oh, Jeff, I was federal returning officer and now in PI. The process of provincial election. I'm also an RO, 4 premiers in 1 year. So much corruption on PI. Anyways, we counted the votes, but oh, please let me see this. Good. So much corruption. PI. Anyways, we counted the votes, but it's the vouchers that we can't verify, and there's a lot of those even here on PI. Yeah, the voucher balloting that they're persecuting me for. And you just said it, Jeff, which I appreciate you. Western Canada knows very little about voucher ballots. It's largely an Atlantic and for sure Ontario. I don't know. I don't know if it's a Quebec thing. I doubt it. I haven't looked into it, but I've never seen an Eastern election till being working in Ontario and hitting one, and then wow, voucher ballots. And then because of what I published publicly, being investigated by Elections Canada with brand new, as of last year, whole trial court system in the judicial prosecution team, power of a court, and CSIS itself. Oh yeah, as of last year. And it's funny, you tell me none of that's available to any of you. Can't verify nothing. No one's going to do nothing. But yet, because of 51st State and what I did, now I'm going to be persecuted like no other. Me and at least 4 others. And all somehow to do with USA. Some have recanted now, right? Out of fear, but... Oh, Jerry says Saskatchewan has uranium. I think Trump wants it, but something about the deal with India will not sit well with Trump, is my guess. Well, India has nuclear power plants enriched. They have nuclear weapons too. They're not allowed to build anymore. But of course, they probably will. I don't know where Trump's going to go with that. They'll be monitoring. But it's the China one that Canada's just struck a deal with. That's the bigger problem, as they're a P5 power, most certainly capable of using that very cheap, already highly sourced, valuable uranium of the world, easiest to process and enrich, best quality, bar no one else in the world. You give that to China, they definitely will be making weapons. They definitely will be. It's not a matter of if, it's absolutely. India's not allowed, but will they? I don't know. They're part of BRICS. And if you got China moving against USA with UK Commonwealth, which India is a Commonwealth country, that's scary. That's scary for even America. So I partially agree with you there. Well, I think that's it. I'm going to... Oh, wait. Victoria Air's Power Authority. Oh, Jonathan Bahai, will you continue to take signatures since you have another 25 days? I'm already over 1,000. I'll take signatures, but UNSC's funny, right? Like, you look at precedents of certain things, there's 1,500 on this one, right? Like, I know that sounds funny to us. It's funny to me as a Canadian. Everything we do because of our crown is some deep, super complex process requiring all these hula hoops and stages. But yet, on the world stage of so many other countries, including USA, very easy, like common sense. No, just like that. We just want to see this. Da-da-da-da-da. Like, right? Then you look at, like, registering a provincial party, easier. Oh, not for this province. It's got to be tens of thousands, or this process is easy. This one's super hard, right? It all depends on what the Crown sees as a threat. And then you see the level. So I got to think about that one, Jonathan, because do I want to keep doing that work every day, to be honest, everybody? Listen to my voice. And I'm tired. I'm tired. These things take a lot out of me, and I work full time. And I also want to work on First Nations presentation. I want to get that one up on YouTube, a real one that's really good, that goes through the United States and our history here in North America, so that First Nations can find themselves. And it's something for them that I know is coming. I know we got to address them, but I want to give them something. I want to give them something to look at and understand about who they are and where they come from. And that's real important for me right now. You can all hear it. I'm tired. I'm not sick, but I am wore out. I'm wore out, and we'll see. I'm going to take a couple days, right? And then we'll see if I start that signature drive again. I'll think about it. It's good, Jonathan. Thanks. Yeah, Foster was right. Alberta Independent supporters were at Federal Conservative Convention in Calgary. Think that's so bad for separatists? Of course. Do Quebec separatists, did the PQ go to Liberal or Conservative conventions? No. Keep taking signatures as they may be rejected. They don't reject. What will happen, the reason why everybody I needed emails is if they audit me, I'm fucked. I am fucked. You don't fuck with UNSC. That's the best way to say it. I'll do their 1,000. Their whole thing is, can you imagine? I made up the signature drive or whatever. I need all your emails because it's like, oh yeah, well, what if USA? What if I get a call from Mike Waltz or some U.S. representative? We want you to produce those Canadian signatures. We want you to prove it before we go forward, right? And then I'm sitting here going, oh, right, or it's mychange.org, or Canada seizes them, and then I look like a piece of shit. At least this one registered, Google registered in USA. Canada has to go through US loops for that. At least I'm protected and we're all good. Like, I don't want to be caught in something like that. Not with UNSC. Like, that is not... You don't mess with those countries. Russia, China, USA, UK, France. You don't. You don't. They can... You're gone. You're gone. I mean, like, imprisoned, hog, arrested, or all kinds of shit. Killed. Like, I'm not saying they kill me, but UK, France, maybe. But, you know, I don't even think that would get there. But, you know, I'm just not going to get screwed. I just follow everything. I just don't want to mess something up, and then I'm caught with my pants down. Oh, thanks, Lou. I pray for your strength. Thank you. God bless you. I wish you were my history teacher. Well, yeah, I know. I wish I had a real history teacher. I wish we all did, you know. But, folks, my stomach's rumbling. I can hear it. And I'm like, wonder if they can too. And I'm very tired. I need another good night of sleep. So, if you don't mind, I do gotta do laundry. I'll shut her down. And Aaron, ain't no fool. Thank you. Yeah, I try not to be. But it's good. I love you all. So if anybody has anything major they want to ask now, hit me with it. I'll give you 10 seconds. I know I probably missed people, but... Thank you, Dave, again. Okay, thanks. God bless. Love you all. Bye now. Good night. Sure. Get it out there. Maybe some folks will learn some stuff. Love you all. Thanks, Tina. Bye now. Oh, I don't know. I can't end this damn thing. Thank you all. Means a lot. Thank you.